We're going to continue on something that I was working on yesterday, which was this piece here. And I want to do the side view. I've done it here. What I did is I used acetate. I use acetate because it's a lot more transparent. If you look at a tracing like this, and then you look at the acetate and how the acetate works, it's much, much clearer to see what you're doing. I'm going to kind of ad-lib a part here that I can do, which is the ribbing that was in the bottom here, all the ribbing on the part of this. I'm going to try and get it back in the center here. And this, I want to do this ribbing underneath. So it's like coming from here, and it's going and leaving a little space in between these pieces. And this coming like this. So it is it'll go from this to a tracing. After this I'll do a tracing. So the only part that you might see is right there, where there's spaces in between under the balls that are here. And another thing I'll show you right now is that you can see, hopefully, what I'm doing here. If I take a mirror, put a mirror right here, you can see right there the shape. For my eye, I turn my head to the side so that I can see it, but I see the reflection. But you can somewhat appreciate how it looks. You can see the whole thing, how the dome of the ring is very high on the piece. So that's where I'm at right now. So here, put this tape aside, and what I'm going to do is then I'm going to put this aside. And this is, oh, these are the other rings. There's some other rings I have to work on. But this one here, what I want to do is I want to transfer this side view to here. So now, because it's much cleaner, I can read it much better. So I got the top view here, and I got the bottom, the side view here. And I want to be able to really center this. So I can right there, I got to remember to put it right there. And I'm going to tape it back down. I want to tape this down so that I don't have it move on me. And I can do this one on top here. Make sure the tape is really holding well. And with a sharpener, take my sharpener here. Let some of that out a little bit. To get a decent sharp point. In fact, I'm going to increase the point a little more by just doing this, rubbing off some of the graphite off the lead itself, creating a much sharper point. This was always something very important, that point be very, very sharp. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give myself some moving room because it's attached to a large piece of paper. And I'm going to go by hand and with the little short strokes do this. Okay, I'm going to stay on this one right here. This makes it a lot better for me. Now, I'm only moving this. See, if you can keep it confined to just these two pieces of paper, you can move this around easily without disturbing anything else. So now we're going to take this and we're going to continue on this. To the shank. This is part of the Guardian series, and I want to do more as I go along to expand the line, taking rulers to line things up. The grid is very, very nice to have. It's a small compact ruler. You don't need these big triangles to make things line up. And as they go into the circle around the outside, they will lose their roundness and become almost elliptical as they go around. And you can also double check the width of something by lining this up like this and bringing a line like that, so you can see that the distance is correct. Here, when you look at the stones, this is two-dimensional. It's just north, south, east, west, and it's on a flat surface. But the reality of it is this was tilted. You see this line and this line, they're at an angle, and this line and this line. These are indicating a tilt on the stone. And it gives you the ability to create a truer view on a side, so that you can see how this will look with the facets on it like this. And in fact, there's a prong, there's a small prong, I don't know if you saw it there, but it's about here, that's mounted to lock that stone into place, because it's locked under this flower. It's locked by the prong here at this end that you don't see here, and then you have this floral element here, this organic growth here, that actually it has an undercut where the stone goes under that. So what you what you have is you have this floral pattern here, a little floral element that's coming up like this. Then you have the larger floral piece coming, and they're kind of tucked in on the top of those beads. So this comes like this, and then this is underneath this flower. This dips under the flower on the top, which has the stone as well. And then this is coming here, so it has a effect like this. And then you have your extended version out here of your other part of the flower, prong, double prong, and the diamond at the top. Now I'm going to put these ribs back in like I did before when I first created them. A little space in between, like this. And that gives me that half. Now I can remove the acetate from here, which by the way can be reused, because if I take a kneaded eraser such as this and I want to use it again, and it doesn't damage the surface of the acetate, but it will remove all of the graphite off of the acetate. And then if you want to use it a second time on something else, once you get this image erased and it's gone completely, you can then go on to work with it another time for something else, such as what we saw here on another piece up here, like this. If I go onto this, I can do the same thing again here. Where you see the clarity there, see the clarity here? It's much easier to work with this and use it time and time again. It's very, very handy material. So now what I'm going to do here is go with my fingernail on this, rub this off, because it's symmetrical, and what it's going to do is give me the other half of the ring on its side view. So you go like this. Fingernails are wonderful burnishers because you can feel the paper. If you use a metal tool or a plastic tool to transfer the image, it's you don't have the same feeling. You could tear the paper very easily. And with this, you don't tear the paper because you feel it. And you can use any nail, a thumbnail, fingernail, a little finger if you want. But this, I find this first finger works very, very nicely. When I go and open it up, now you can see the other side of the ring. And the flower, and the way the flower comes out. And I'm going to rotate this to make it convenient for my hand. Prongs here with this kind of an effect. This gives you the feeling of the total ring by doing this. And I want to make sure I get these little petals coming down off of this. And the flower itself, which was here and here, which helps to lock that piece in. Then the the other stone here. Make sure to bring these facets down. This. And the little balls that travel around the outer rim, which are similar to what's in the locket, original locket. Then bringing this down here. You lose some of the graphite when you transfer, so it's sometimes wise to go back over some of the lines to make them stand out very well once again. And when this, if you go back into the computer, this is a very good guide for doing Illustrator Path, because what you've done is you've drawn a fairly accurate drawing of the piece. But if you do it in Illustrator Path, I mean, it will be really, really super sharp. And like I said, it's an instrument just like the pencil. And I think that it's a very enjoyable process of doing that. And there are so many things in the computer that stimulate the imagination, and if it's used in a way that doesn't pull you away from your natural ability with your hands. So this is where we'd be with this. This is where it is now. So I'm going to keep it this way because the picture will be turned the other way after. But that gives you an example of one of the rings that I'm doing for the Adinkra symbols.